I'm ready.
Well, I don't think it's going to get much more ready than this. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is I, Andrew Miller, here with my two co-hosts, Billings and Tony. How are we doing, gentlemen?
We're back. Football's back, baby.
We are back.
Football's back.
Looking better than ever. Yes, sir. You guys look like you're mid-season form already. Billings has been working hard, sweating. Tony even shaved. I mean, he is just ready to go.
It's gone.
It is gone. What is up, gentlemen? How have we been? What have you been up to?
Surviving. Another day, another dollar. Grinding away. Best days of my life.
Tony getting them dollars while we are getting them dimes. Billings, what else is up?
Trying to avoid this summer heat, the Delta variant, all these other things. So I'm just glad football's back. Talk about something that's really important in the world.
Yes, sir. Priorities. Testing negative and staying positive. The new cheese email signature. We do have some questions. I wanted to start off this lovely podcast. This episode, we're going to do an NFL preview. We're going to be talking the entire league, checking out the where we think the rankings are going to be. We got a little AFC preview, a little NFC preview. The boys here have picked their winners. We've got even. Don't worry. We've got your bets. We've got your rookie of the year. We've got your offensive player of the years here. So don't worry. Lock it in here with TonyParlay and badBetz Billings.
Sit back, grab a drink, light a smoke, listen up. Because we're just going to talk, baby. We're just going to talk to you about NFL.
However you
all
want
the stuff coming up. It's going to be easy. Easy peasy, sit back, enjoy. We got you covered. And then you know what? We'll circle back around at the end of the season and see how wrong we were, how optimistic we were, how terribly wrong we were about everything. But right now, baby, football's back.
Checking the receipts. Billings is ready. He's ready to call some people out. He knows something's up. Tony knows something's up. But the one new thing that is definitely up this season is the addition of an 18th week in the NFL. This is going to affect the regular season. This is going to affect the fantasy football championships. I mean, this is the real deal here, guys. Like, we got to talk. What's going to go down?
Honestly, I've never thought of it how this is going to impact like fantasy seasons with this. I've never even... Probably because I don't play fantasy, first off.
Yes.
Warning to the viewers. Do not endorse that. But yeah, like that'd be wild to have that extra year. And so yeah, like Tony, like what do you think about this 18th week?
Dude, I think the 18th week is like it's gonna change all kinds of things. Injuries, all the records are gonna get broken. We're gonna be like, what does this even mean now? And it's going to change all kinds of things. Like 2,000 yard seasons.
True, yeah. We're going to have like 2,000 yard running backs probably more often now.
Yeah, all kinds of 5,000 yard seasons for passing too.
Yep.
You're going to change all kinds of things.
Damn, I should have made bets on like over under 5,000 yards for some of these QBs because that seems actually a lot more attainable this season.
Right?
It's the year like quarterbacks are taking over. They've been already averaging so many more yards. So add another week in there, get 300 more yards, 400 more yards. Like, who's to say? Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. So you're locked into the playoffs as we're deep into the season. You're locked in this 18th week. Do you think people sit? Like, are players getting sat because they don't need to play?
Yes, I think it's way more likelihood that like teams are going to start sitting players again rather than playing out the season.
But with the one bye week for the playoffs, are they still going to sit? Like that's like their like counter to this, right? is that there's only one spot that gets the bye in the playoffs.
Right. So you get that first seed and you kind of get to coast through. But then we've seen teams not do well coming off of that like week of rest too, where it's almost like they miss that week of like those reps and like getting those pads in. So now you're talking about 2 weeks. Are we just like scouting players during this week 18? You're like, it's like a preseason game at the end of the year. You know, you're like trying out quarterbacks, your second, third stringer. I don't know. I don't think it's good. The extra week, it's going to put too much pressure on these guys. It's going to be too long. People are already breaking down like week 5, week 6 stuff starts like you're not getting those same plays. So, I mean,
But that's one more game to get them rehabbed and get them back before playoffs.
thanks for coming on out. It's like this, like the frequent buyer. You're going to have like, how many times did you played all the way through? All right, way to go.
Like definitely the goal this season is to get injured early. Like I'd say if you're gonna get injured, like do it in the first like 3 or 4 weeks.
Michael Thomas doing the most. You're saying be injured going into the season? Like, is this a new strategy? Like, nah, I'm good. 18 weeks. Like, I'll just get surgery when the
That's right.
season starts.
Everybody's gonna be on the decline. Michael Thomas is gonna come back like refreshed, vitalized, and he's just gonna hustle past people. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
Slant boys revenge.
Starting on the pup list. It's an interesting.
That seems racist for some reason. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
glaze
you gotta be
over
careful with that, Tony. Can't be saying that like too aggressively to people. That
Slant boy? Slant boy.
Yeah.
Racist on the routes that he runs. Slant boy.
Easy.
Oh, maybe Jameis, he can run an actual post or he can run like an actual fly pattern.
Well, now that he got like eye correction surgery, like let's hope.
Get that LASIK.
So with the addition of the 18th week, we did have a little bit less of a preseason. Do you guys think that this is going to result in less major injuries?
Yes, like I feel like there was way less injuries this year in terms of preseason. Like I feel like
The precaution, they're taking more precaution sort of a thing. Like
not even precautions, like because like they took precautions last year because of COVID. Yeah, like you still had all these just like preseason injuries and whatnot, and it seems like this year like nothing. Like everybody's like, played it safe. They're just like, yep, like basically we just need to get you in for like one game as kind of like a dress rehearsal, and beyond that we're just testing out these other guys. And yeah, I think this has been way more beneficial.
Tony, thoughts on the injuries and the less of a preseason? I mean, you're not getting to see these starters, you know, in that last preseason game. We're pretty much rolling into the season.
I don't know. I think the risk is still pretty high. It just matters if the teams play the players like J.K. Dobbins, RIP. Sorry, I thought he was really going to be a big part of the Ravens offense this season. It seemed like he was going to have a breakout from what I saw. So I think that's really going to hurt them. Mahomes played in preseason. So it's like, I don't know. It really is interesting to see if like the less preseason kind of doesn't lessen the injuries and stuff.
I'll be completely wrong if everybody comes out week 1. Just like, all these injuries happen. I'll be like, oh,
yeah, that's going to be
missed that one.
I mean, they really talk about that, you know, the football speed, going like 100%, you know, you're not going the 60, 70% at practice. Like you're running all out. So, I mean, we're gonna see hamstrings. We're gonna see like if all these hamstrings are good, we're gonna see like, you know, players can take hits going over the middle, you know. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm not sure having less preseason games helps, but this whole season is gonna be like, it's last season seemed wild, dude. People were going down left and right. It just seemed like a lot more injuries and a lot more. Like, you're not just going to get hit, get shaken up and walk off the field. Like, I mean, players were like going down, like tearing, breaking, you know? And so it's like, you don't just get a chance to like take a just take this off and then come back in. Like, no, you're going to take the rest of the season off and rehab that foot, Dak. Like, I kind of forgot he tried to slam it back in while he was like in that game. He was like trying to like, oh my God.
Not good.
Yes, that was terrible. Thank
Hard
you, Hard
Knocks.
Knocks, for showing us that again.
Bringing
That
it
was
back.
Very disturbing.
Billings, what's this next one here?
All right. Do we think it is this? We're going to see more of an offensive explosion like from this offseason? Do we think it benefits defenses more than offenses? Like, what do we expect from this offseason? I personally think like we're going to see some defenses more refreshed and coming into this. Whereas I think offensive players have to like, they benefit a lot more from that habitual like behavior. And so I think, yeah, like they'll be slow to start the season. I think defenses will be really refreshed and really just like ready to tee up on some guys. Thoughts on this, Tony?
I agree with you. I think holding, man, like they did not call holding last season. That was like, it was down so big. Every game they did not call holding. And I could easily see them just like starting that would be so simple if they just started calling holding more to give the defenses a little bit more of a level playing field there, because I don't know. We did see it in college too. I mean, in college football, like the defense has definitely stepped up when they've had more of an off season than last year. So I could definitely see that happening this year with the NFL.
The holding has got to get called. We're seeing so many new wide receivers on teams. I mean, it feels like there's like 10 wide receivers in the league and they're on like 3 teams. You know what I mean? Like 15 wide receivers and they're on like 4 different teams. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, Julio Jones, AJ Brown. Okay. Who do you not want to beat you? Neither of them. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to hold and scrap and like try to just mug this guy on the line of scrimmage. I think the offense is going to take over. I think it's just like it's poised for that, especially, I mean, quarterbacks are not just staying in the pocket anymore. Everybody's all of a sudden mobile. Like, what? Herbert can run? Stop it. And it's like, what's going on here? So I think offense is going to take off. You're going to see a lot of these. Let's see.
So you think that like that'll happen this year, that offense will be maybe too much with this 18th game, where it's just like, okay, maybe we do have to like ramp this back somehow?
Ooh. I don't think people go to baseball to watch them catch that ball. I think they go to watch these home runs. So I think they're doing this, like it's kind of pushing it this way where it's like, throw 5 touchdowns, like they want to see that. They want to see these people, like people want to go and watch LeBron James. They want to go and see Patrick Mahomes. They want to see Tom Brady, especially if he's going to throw 5 touchdowns in the first half. Like, okay, let's get a big lead. Let's get out of here. But like,
then it makes it feel like there's no strategy on the defensive side when you just have games like that. Like, I'm all for like seeing the occasional game where, yeah, like you have like team blows it open for like a 40 burger or something. But like when you're seeing that every night, like you are in some of these college games, it's just like, okay, well, that's just like, now we're just playing 7-on-7 where like the defense is kind of just like a stand-in. Like you'd almost be better off just having like dummies out there and
those robot
the backfield
like shadowing you.
Yeah, like, so I don't necessarily want to see that like night after night. Like I still want to see like some of these like 9-6 games that you'll occasionally see in like the NFC North. But like, yeah, like I'm all for it. Like, yes, it is exciting to see multiple touchdowns. Like probably one of the more exciting games me and Tony have seen. Like obviously going to be Broncos Cowboys with Manning and Romo, like 5 touchdown game. Like that was exciting. But yeah, the defenses had little to do with that game.
And that's like, it kind of goes back to your like 18th week thing. Honestly, there are not 32 good quarterbacks in this league. And then with all the injuries, I think in that 18th week, I mean, we could see some like offense that Miller's talking about, but it's like Case Keenum threw 3 touchdowns. I'm like, wow, why am I watching Case Keenum play again? Like, it's like we don't have 32 starting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Kind of goes to your other question here about Cam Newton. He is gonna play. He is going to play it down in the league this year.
Let's jump to this.
All right, let's jump into some Cam Newton talk.
Yeah.
Your favorite topic as a Broncos fan.
Oh, like by far, because that guy doesn't have shit on us.
Recently released from the Patriots, Cam Newton. So I mean, he's free to get picked up by any of the other 31 teams. What are the top 3 candidates?
I'd say the Texans are one of them.
Sadly. Yep.
I don't know, because did he get released because he wants to be a starter? Is that why he got released? Because
I can see why he was released. When you have like a rookie QB, you don't necessarily want like Cam Newton sitting behind him, where clearly Cam Newton probably has a better command of that locker room. And like, so you don't want that locker room to just suddenly turn on Mac Jones. You want him to build into a leadership role, grow with this team, build camaraderie with that locker room, build that respect. So yeah, you don't necessarily want Cam Newton in that situation. And then of course the whole not wanting to get COVID vaccination, that of course that's an issue, because like availability is
the best,
one of the best things you can have in the NFL.
Truth.
I'm just trying to think of spots where he would be a starter. I mean, Detroit, it's not like I'm that confident and sold on Jared Goff keeping that job all season.
Yeah, neither was Sean McVay.
So, I mean, Detroit, Houston, I mean, where else? It's like,
but I think all media is throwing out just like a lot of names just to see like shit stick to the wall, like the Broncos, when it's like me knowing the Broncos just from the local sense, media wise, like no, like they're never going to pick up Cam Newton. Like same with like the Colts, like they're never going to pick up Cam Newton. Or like I think I've seen like the 49ers thrown out and like some media hits, and I'm just like, what? Like why would they ever do that? So just like some weird ones where I'm like, no, like yeah. So like I definitely with like some injuries pop up, I could see him going to some teams and whatnot.
That's definitely what I thought. Is there's going to be some injury. There's going to be a starting quarterback that goes down, and all of a sudden they're picking up the phone like Cam's on the plane over there. I mean, obviously we can name the places that he's not going easier, but still like something happens to, I don't know,
Derek Carr.
Yeah, like I could see him with the Raiders if Derek Carr goes down.
If Dak gets hurt again, does he try to sign with the Cowboys?
Maybe.
Depends on where they're at in that season, though.
Yeah.
Like if
are they trying
like if there's just no hope, like even if you bring on Cam Newton and he's not gonna like help the team, it's like, well, we might as well just get a draft pick at this point, you know. So like it definitely that matters. Like I think that's one of the reasons the Texans haven't picked him up, is because like they're probably in tank mode this year.
Yeah, tanking for Trevor. Oh,
they're in an interesting.
Yeah, sorry, no Trevor Lawrence for you, buddy. that year.
That is already past.
Tony, I feel like they're in the Jimmy G boat. They're like evaluating the rookie. They're evaluating Jimmy G and Trey Lance situation, and they're evaluating like the college QBs and trying to see which one would work better for them.
Like if something pans out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Billings called that the vetting. He vets players like that.
So speaking of the other player in this conversation, do we think Deshaun Watson plays an NFL game this year?
I'm just going to take the lead on this one and straight up say no dice. I don't think that man is going to be allowed to cash a check this year. I mean, it's like going to be like a Ray Rice situation where like the attention around him is too negative for him to have like a Sunday like high-fiving people like, yeah, let's go get him. Like, it's just like, no, they're gonna
Well,
take
there's
him.
just too much around it.
I think if the punishment gets announced, that he'll get traded for. But nobody will trade for him until they know how many games he's going to miss.
Right.
And I don't know if he'll miss the entire season. That seems like a lot. I could see like 8 games.
So what is this commission?
Not for the Texans, he'll never play.
Oh no, yeah.
No.
This for the Texans, no.
Yeah, but I could see like 2 months down the line, they're like, yep, he's suspended 8 games. He hasn't played 7 of them. We're gonna count that as time served, and he's gonna be out 1 more game. Miami's trading for him. We're sending him over there now for 3 first-round picks.
With his 3 first-round picks.
He's 25 years old. He's a really, really good quarterback.
Interesting.
If he goes to prison for the rest of his life.
He's rich though.
Oh Lord.
He's not going to prison.
There's so many though. There's so, and like you have like the FBI involved. Like I would want nothing to do with this.
There's
if I
like
were an
not a
NFL
positive
team.
spin zone for this. Like there's no like saving the face. Just what is it? Cutting your nose off to spite your face, sort of a thing. Like there's no doing that.
He's
like,
just such a rare talent. And
He is, but he's also a rare creeper in terms of how he likes to get his kicks.
We've like totally.
I mean, this is the league that employs Tyreek Hill and Ben Roethlisberger. It's not like this is a very moral league.
But like we didn't have like dozens of cases, like instances that have now like popped up, and like like I said, like FBI getting involved and stuff like that. Like one instance, like here, like 2 to 3. Like this is shitty saying this,
careful.
But
be careful.
This is shitty saying it, but like that is an NFL team. Like you can write that off. Like let's be real. Like they're dealing with $1 million contracts and personnel and all these different things that go into it. So like yes, like 2 or 3, like we can totally write that off. We got to protect our asset and whatnot. But like when it's we're getting into dozens, it's like, okay, like I can't, like it's, when there's smoke, there's fire, and there's like, that's a tire fire. There's like so much smoke coming off of it. Like I'm being blinded right now. And it's like, yeah, like I still think I can sort through this and like make Deshaun Watson, a viable talent. And I think it's so far gone at this point that like, how do you rehab that? How do you salvage that?
One of the top 10 most valuable assets in the league, though. A team is going to figure out how to rehab that. He's not Ray Rice.
We'll see. But it seems like there's multiple bridges that need to be crossed first before a team can even take a waiver on that.
I think that punishment needs to be handed down before a team like calls about him. But once it does, I guarantee you they do.
If there even is any punishment, though, like I the same token, like I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Like that's how cynical I am about the situation. So I could very much see him getting no punishment by the NFL, no criminal punishment, like just civil settlements that are not disclosed to the public. And yeah, like guy just walks away from it. That I wouldn't be shocked or surprised. And that speaks to a lot of just different things in our society, but I'm not going to get into that because like we're here for NFL. Yeah, we're going to get our minds off that shit. But that's just, that's the sticky situation that surrounds Deshaun Watson currently. So let's talk about one more real world aspect that's bleeding into our little escapism fantasy world here. Will COVID impact any of the games this season? And if so, how so? Like, is this going to be a question about availability of players, a question of teams possibly forfeiting games, games possibly being moved to different locations, or both? Predictions about what we're going to see COVID impact the season, if at all.
They are doing like if you're not vaccinated, you're getting tested and you have to wear a mask. And if you get like if your game's on Sunday and you test positive on what is it, Tuesday, like you don't play basically. So yeah, this is going to be very real. I know the NFL is also pushing for like 100% vaccinations. Like it's just easier to operate when you know there's not like a chance. I mean, there's still a chance, but a lower risk of infection. So that, like, depending on how serious these players want to take it, I think when money starts getting involved, like if a game gets canceled, like the Buffalo Bills have COVID, they're not able to play their Monday night game. That's a lot of people on the other team not getting a paycheck also. That like that whole like you don't mess with my money sort of an attitude starts happening. And that's what I'm interested in, where it's not on my team, but like it's on your team and it's your fault for getting us infected or for passing it along. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to try to move games around. I think it's straight up like you play or you don't play sort of a thing.
So another question I'll ask is, how will it work with when you can have, say, vaccinated players that can still test positive?
Oh,
They're gonna miss games.
The
I think more
breakthrough
players
cases?
are gonna miss games this season. Because I think that more they've done a great job for getting the league vaccinated. Most of the league like is vaccinated, but I think with that they still can test positive, and I don't think that they're as cautious as unvaccinated players are outside of the facility. And so I think that does, like, they're gonna just test positive and they're gonna miss a game. It's gonna be like, yeah, he's vaccinated, but he still tested positive, or it was still a close contact. He's out this week.
I
Or are we
think
going to see key players missing games?
Yes, already Zach Martin.
I was going to bring up Zach Martin exactly today, right? Got announced that he was placed on the COVID list.
Yeah.
So he's not going to play that opening game or he might
Thursday.
miss Thursday,
He's
right?
missing that game.
He's missing it already.
Yep.
So
So as a Broncos fan, will it get to his levels that we saw last year of like a wide receiver playing QB for a team?
I don't think so. I don't think it'll affect. I think that they'll have more precautions for position groups like that. And they'll have like a player like outside of that position group just
like
in
they've
case.
learned their lesson sort of a thing from last
Mhm.
year. Like instead of having the whole QB room go down to close contact, like, oh man, talk about a rare situation for Cam Newton. All these quarterbacks go down and all of a sudden he's the one that you're calling because your room of QBs got infected.
Right?
Oh my God. What do you think, Billings? What's your take on all this?
I think so. I think there's just still so many unknowns to like just look at it in our personal life. Like as much as you might be like, say, pro-vax or pro-mask or whatever, like it's still like there's some ridiculous and arbitrary rules out there of just like, it's like suddenly like, oh, well, like this person has to wear a mask, but this person doesn't. But then this person needs to wear it indoors, but not outdoors. But if you live in this county, you don't have to wear a mask, and like all these different things. And so, yeah, it gets confusing. Like it's gotten to a point of frustration of like, oh, well, like, what do I have to do? Like where? And so I can definitely see where folks get frustrated about it. And I'm sure you're going to see that frustration in the NFL of like, if you see vaccinated players testing positive, they're going to be like, well, hey, like I did everything you guys told me to do. And like, I'm still sitting out games. And now with like the implications that we're seeing, like they could possibly be losing paychecks or like their team having forfeit games.
Yep.
And so then like that frustration will even bubble up more. So that's what I'm just like, I'm intrigued to see. And like also the fans, like, are the fans going to get jerked around again of like, okay, well, like suddenly now you have to wear a mask at games, or like, oh, we're going to have to socially distance again at games, or limited capacity, things like that. So I think we'll see plenty of that. Like I said, there's a lot of unknowns and we're still like, unfortunately, that's just life. As much as I want to talk about a real world topic right now, like a lot of us thought we were through this pandemic and we came out on the other side. And like right now, it kind of seems like we're taking some steps back. And so we very well might see that during our fall sports. And I'm trying to mentally prepare for that, but I'm hoping we just have like a flawless season where everyone's healthy, fans get to go watch games again. Like honestly, the NFL being back, like maybe like that'll promote like people to get vaccines as well, seeing like, oh, players are vaccines, like certain fans to go to games are vaccines. So like maybe that'll help. But yeah, like I'm let's just say I'm optimistic, but I'm also like I'm bringing my umbrella because like there's a possibility for rain.
You did bring up something that could possibly happen. I'm going to give a shout out to local high school here. Hanks was doing vaccination shots at Friday night football here in town, which is awesome. That if you're going to be going out and say you're a working person, you can't get away between the hours of 8 and 6 o'clock, but you can make it to your son or cousin or whatever nephew's football game. There's still opportunities for the people out there that want to find them. And I thought that was awesome. So nice little shout out to those people that set that up, that got that taken care of. And the people that got vaccinated, thank you for doing that. Like kudos to you guys. So yes, kind of all rolling into, we're all in this together. So don't fuck it up for the rest of us.
Honestly, I hope people will see that of like, there was like things that we were out last year. Like we didn't get to go to NFL games. Like we had like here in Denver, we had South Park characters standing in for the fans here. Like,
oh, that was
I want to go back to games. Like I want that energy. I want to go tailgate again, all these different things. And so I think people will see that and see like, yeah, like fuck yeah, if I can get vaccinated and do these things again, you know what? I'll do it. And that's what I'm hoping for. So moving on back to like football guy topics
here.
There's a lot of hype for those young QBs right now. We're seeing it with a lot of teams. We're seeing it like Chargers, the Browns, the Bills, lots of young QBs. So what do we think about some of these young QBs, their MVP odds, like, you know, the Mayfields, the Josh Allens, the Herberts, the Joe Burrows, I mean, even the Tua Tagovailoas, Miami fans are hyped to see this guy. They want to see what he can do. And so what do we think about some of these young QBs? Like, honestly, like I'll say personally, I'll start out here. Like I'm stoked because like, I feel like we haven't had kind of like this young QB presence for a while. To Tony's point earlier, we were like seeing Case Keenum playing in games and it's like, we can't even fill out 32 teams right now. And I'm starting to feel like we're getting to a point right now where like, yeah, like we're actually filling out the 32 teams with some good QBs. Like, so what do you think, Miller?
I am head over heels for Justin Herbert, Big Herbs. I think this dude is exceptional above the rest. I mean, the way he stepped in last season was, I mean, that was, nobody could have done that. He was able to fit the system. He meshed well with his wide receivers. He wasn't trying to be something that he wasn't, you know, like, let me run for an extra 5 yards. Let me try to fit this in. I mean, he seemed to just kind of like take whatever was given to him. Now, maybe that might change. This kind of goes a little bit into like the sophomore slump that could be a very real disease and it's just not diagnosed yet. It's not recognized by the you know, philosophizers and the doctors up top, but I don't know. I think he's in the right position to continue to move forward without any regression. You've got players that are huge stepping up for him. We're with Austin Eckler. People have never respected him, so it's even more on his side where he's kind of like playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. You've got the wide receivers outside. Mike Williams is always somehow coming down with the ball. I have no idea how he makes half of those catches. I'm pretty sure it's Mike Williams. the wide receiver, and then Keenan Allen. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are pissed at Keenan Allen for last season when he looked dead into the camera, said, "Don't sit me," and proceeded to put a donut up into the scoreboard for everybody in fantasy. So, I mean, I just think that the hype is on the Chiefs, and they're like right there in the shadow, ready to try to make that next jump. I'm all in on Herbert.
Chargers are going to charge. I'm going to interject here. That's buddy. You need to watch the Chargers more often, like the rest of us.
Go Chargers.
But I'm gonna stop you, and I'm gonna have Tony plug in here. What do you got on some of these young QBs?
I agree with Miller. I think Justin
About the
Herbert.
Chargers being good?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Let's roll, Tony.
I think that Anthony Lynn was not a very good coach last year. I think he was like in love with the run game, despite having like Andrew Luck 2.0. And then once like a legitimate coach is there and is like, hey, we have Andrew Luck 2.0, maybe we shouldn't run the ball all the time and just let him cook, that he's going to be really, really tough to stop. They definitely invested in that O-line as well to help protect Herbert a lot. I like those additions. I would honestly say I feel like he's going to have that Josh Allen jump that Josh Allen had last season.
So let's talk about let's talk about the sophomore slump while we're kind of blending into topics here. Like, I'm a firm believer in the sophomore slump. I know you guys not so much, but like,
do you have examples?
It's more just like defense,
there's more tape on you.
That first season, they're caught off guard. They are presented with something unexpected that they didn't necessarily watch tape or even game plan for. And so like, yeah, like somebody like RG3 would just come in and like break into the league and blow it up that first year. But then that next season, it's like, okay, well, like we have tape on this guy. And it's like, oh, like, well, like he's clearly just always running off to, like, I think with him, it was always running off to his left. And basically defenses just started crowding the left. And like that guy didn't know how to do shit anymore. And so like, there's just, you've seen other examples. I think Dak Prescott had like a sophomore slump. Like he had a breakout season where he took over for Romo and everybody's like, oh, wow. Like nobody fucking expected it from this kid and whatnot. And it was just literally that, like they didn't know what to expect from him and they're caught off guard. And it's hard to game plan for people that are coming out of college, and especially like, yes, college schemes may be similar to NFL schemes, but it's just a much different world. And also sometimes you're playing down to your competition or playing up to it in a lot of regards with college football. And so it's different there. And so, yeah, like I believe in the sophomore slump when it's like, okay, like now we have game tape, we have an off season where we can look at this guy, coordinators can look at these people. And like I said, it's something as simple as like RG3 of just like, oh yeah, we just need to crowd the left with this guy.
Yes, but RG3 had Shanahan and Sean McVay cooking up schemes for him. I think that's a pretty big deal. And we haven't really seen like a sophomore slump in a while. I mean, maybe Baker. And I mean,
Baker would be the big one.
But I mean, that was Hugh Jackson, and we know about his.
We saw Lamar Jackson have like a sophomore slump. Like
he won MVP his second year.
He did?
Yes. And then Patrick Mahomes won MVP.
So that means he's going to have that means he'll have his junior year.
A junior, push it back 1 year. Okay.
We're going to go to the NFC West. And then let's work our way up to number one. Let's start with who are you going to have like last in the division?
Smart.
And then we'll work our way up to our number one.
Okay. So Billings, who do you have coming in fourth here? The last team.
So in the NFC West, I have the Arizona Cardinals coming up last in the division. And I have them, Vegas has them at 8.5 wins over under. I have them getting under 8.5 wins. Okay. Most likely I see them having an 8-10 season.
Oh.
There's only 17 games.
There's 18, I thought.
18
there's 18 weeks. See, god damn it, we're already screwing this up.
Oh, because there's a bye week in
This-
there.
this week. So yes, they're gonna be. Wait, oh, holy shit.
8 and 9, 7 and 10.
7 and 10. 7 and 10. There we go.
Okay. 7 and 10 he goes with. Tony.
I would agree with him in his assessment there. I really haven't seen too much from Cliff Kingsbury.
Okay.
They did add JJ Watt and they added AJ Green. It's got some veterans there, but that division is just very, very difficult. Probably the toughest in the league, to be honest. I just don't see them overcoming the division.
Can I just say it? Yeah, Tony's right. Cliff Kingsbury's a fraud.
Yeah.
Let's just say it. Like, that guy is a fraud. He's a fraud in college. He's a fraud in the NFL. And yes, the Cardinals are going to suck this year.
Like Kyler Murray's fast, super fast, but like that's not an offense. You can't really just say, hey, my quarterback is fast, and that's how we're going to move the ball.
I've seen all sorts of people doing it with him in Madden. What are you talking about?
Well, when you have Cliff Kingsbury and Vance Joseph with the controllers, you're going to get diminishing returns.
Moving on after Cliff Kingsbury fools us.
Tony, give us the 3.
Give us your 3 spot.
Seattle, 3
Ooh.
spot. I got them falling down this year. Something feels off about Seattle. It doesn't make a lot of sense to bet against Russell Wilson and those moon balls. Let me tell you, I don't feel real good about it.
Mr.
But
Unlimited.
something feels off. The offensive line, something is just not right there. I don't know. Russell is just not happy. I don't know. DK Diva arrival. Something's just not right there.
Okay. Wow.
Over under 10 wins. I got him at 10 wins exactly. 10 and 7.
Push.
Push.
Okay. Mr. Billings.
So, like, I have the same. I have Seahawks, but where me and Tony probably differ is I still have the Seahawks going to. Well, actually, no, don't have them going to the playoffs, just like Tony.
No, I
So
do. I still have them. It looks like
You have them in the playoffs.
I got them in there now. I had to change
So
Minnesota.
I was the one that doesn't have them. So yeah, like I just think it's more like Seattle will be good. It's more that division is just tough. Like
Yeah.
even down like to the credit of the Cardinals, where they'll get last in that division, they'll still be like a competitive team. That's going to be a hard couple of games there. And so that's where I think Seattle will struggle, is more just that division is tough. But I see them winning probably 10 games exactly, or 11 games.
Wow. What a winning 10 games and still coming up short. Man, Mr. Unlimited has got to do some more stuff. That's rough. And he's coming in 3rd. You guys are crazy here. So these next 2 teams you guys have going better than 10 wins. Who is your number 2, Tony?
I got the Niners. I got them at 10 wins too. They're going to tie the Seahawks and just win with tiebreakers.
What? The Niners.
They're going to lose a game they shouldn't because they don't know their quarterback situation yet.
You're going to be moving it around too much, huh? Platoons.
I'm worried about that secondary too.
This seems like this might be where you differ, Mr. Billings.
Yes. So I have the Rams getting second in that division, but still making the playoffs with the wild card. But I see the Niners. I think they're going to surprise people this year. I still think that's a good team. They just have had some unfortunate bad luck over the last like season and a half. But I think them being healthy, Kyle Shanahan being plugged in, like knowing what his resources are this year, like they'll overperform. So I see them winning, like their over-unders 10.5 wins. I see them definitely winning like 12, 13 games this year.
Interesting. Which leaves, of course, Tony thinking that the Rams, correct, sir? The new addition of Matthew Stafford.
Yes, sir. Upgrade over Jared Goff. that deep and intermediate passing game should really pick up with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods actually being able to run routes past the first down marker.
We're going to see. He's got to play a full season. Matthew Stafford has had a lot of problems with that shoulder. And now he wants a coach who's going to ask him to sling it like crazy. Interesting. Interesting.
Anyone that leaves Detroit, you got to bet on them. That's an upward trajectory.
I can't bet on Calvin Johnson anymore. What the hell, man?
Upward trajectory once he left.
And they broke that man.
They straight up broke that man. Awesome. Gentlemen, I think I'm going to have to agree with most of those. I'm pretty hype on Arizona, but looking at the rest of this division, I don't know how they're going to get past the Rams. And the Niners have a suffocating defense. We're going to see if that comes back to play next year. I don't see how they claw out a third place. And that's even if they can beat Seattle. So I'm thinking I'm liking the way I like this little change up here with the Niners and Rams. It's going to be interesting. Would you say this is the toughest division in football?
Yes.
Yeah.
Has that mantle been passed from the NFC North? NFC North is just the coldest division.
Probably.
This is now like the toughest division.
NFC North is pretty top heavy. I would honestly say it was AFC North is probably the next best competitor of just being a tough ass division. Top to
Everybody
bottom.
throwing haymakers, everybody placing. We're gonna go down here now. Next, we're gonna start in somebody's favorite division. I don't know if favorite division is a word here. It's just his division. And there's
First
some
of
other.
all, are you disrespecting the NFC Beast? Come on, sir. NFC Beast.
I thought it was an L before that, not a B, but I could be wrong.
That was last year. We're leaving that L behind, okay? Beast this year.
NFL
Beast.
least.
The
Let us
Beast.
start with the man who seems to have spent a lot of time around here. Tell us who the number 4th team is. Who's gonna be there, Tony?
New York Giants.
But weren't you just saying it's like the 20th anniversary? They're gonna be celebrating. They're gonna be
Of 9/11, they'll win one game on the anniversary. But Jason Garrett's going to be coaching that team before the season's over.
What is he, the offensive coordinator right now?
Yes, sir. Have fun with those runs right up the middle, Saquon.
Ooh, Saquon. I remember him. Tony, you have the New York Football Giants. 7 wins. Is this
Under.
including the extra game?
Yep, under. That's a 6-11 team at best. Going to be looking for another quarterback. Daniel Jones is not the answer.
Daniel Dimes. Oh my gosh. Billings, this is going to be interesting. You've had a lot of practice watching this man in this division here. Tell me what you think.
Fortunately, I have watched this division too much, but I'm in agreement. Giants, I see them not winning more than 7 games this year.
Okay. So far, we're matched. So far, we're matching. Everybody's seeing eye to eye. Tony, what's your number 3?
Eagles.
Okay.
They're not
Billings.
very good.
Yeah, I'm going to say Eagles, and I think that they're going to be under 6.5 wins. So,
Ooh, 2 for 2, you guys. Okay. This is where things get interesting now. This is where somebody has to accidentally win some games. Who is your number 2 in the division, Tony?
Washington. Fool's gold. Ryan Fitzpatrick's not a starter. That defense isn't as good as you guys think.
Oh my gosh. Billings. Is this where
so we're in agreement. I have the Washington football team over 8.5 wins, but I also see him getting a playoff spot. I see him getting a wild card.
Oh, a little bit of a wild card action here, which, of course, Tony, I'll let you bring it home. Who's going to win your NFC East division?
Cowboys, baby. Getting that NFC East crown.
Does a certain Dak Prescott get a little bit of a redemption story this year?
I hope so. Hope he
Okay.
stays healthy.
Ask us when we get to comeback player of the year.
Oh,
No spoilers.
There's a little bit of a tease for you, you little vixens
NFC
out
least
there.
getting 2 playoff teams in here. I see what's going on.
So
Okay.
here's where me and Tony might differ is I have the Cowboys getting the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Well, that's just some wild talk, sir.
I think
Wow.
they surpass expectations this year. They're definitely over 9 wins. I see them getting probably closer to like 13 wins, to be honest. Yes.
Bold right there.
Billings, let me see if I can see that center on the field behind you. What's in the middle of that field? Is it a Dallas Star behind
It's not a Dallas Star.
You know that they don't have a very good defense.
Oh.
I don't know how they're going to win these games.
Very
But
interesting.
they have a very good offense.
Okay.
And
True.
sometimes in the NFC, that's all that matters.
Okay. Next, we're gonna go ahead and move up north. We've got a little bit of the big guns. They used to be considered the big guns, but this is the NFC North. And we're gonna start with my man over here who's got a Denver Broncos jersey on, but he does spend a lot of time in the snow, so he might know a little bit more about this division. Hit us with your number 4, please, Billings.
Hate this division. Nobody wants to talk about this Midwest division. Lions, number 4, under
Yes.
4.5 wins.
Can we
I
put him
agree.
lower?
Dan the Manimal Campbell, you're got a steep hill to climb, my friend.
Tony,
On paper, that is a terrible team.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that this is also a lock for you as well with the
Yep.
Detroit Lions.
Agreed.
Sorry,
Terrible
Jalen
roster.
Rose. Your Lions are not doing too good this year. Better luck next year. Did you hear Field Yates talking about this team could go like 7-11 or 6-11 or something?
Maybe that would be a good season.
That's
for 'em.
optimistic.
Yeah.
Very optimistic for them. Oh man. Anyway, let's move out of that Detroit Motor City and take our little bus over to Chicago. Oh my gosh. What am I saying? Billings, who's your number 3? You got excited.
Sorry, Justin Fields, but you're gonna finish 3rd in that division. Like, yes, I think they'll get over 8 wins, but no, like that's a tough division. As much as people are wanting to discount the Vikings, sorry, Bears.
Okay. Tony, are we locked in again?
Yep, I'm in agreement, but I do think they'll win fewer than 8 games.
Okay. So you're going under the 7.5.
Yep.
Okay.
Really putting a clamp on that Justin Fields hype.
Dude, that O-line. Oof. Let Andy Dalton just take some hits.
Andy Dalton's definitely starting week 1 and getting
Sacrificed.
crushed. Yes,
It's a sacrifice.
They're like, we hope he gets injured, and then we can start Justin Fields.
Do you think they're just like, so if you suck, this is what's going to happen, Justin? But if you're good, people are going to love you.
Oh, they love him already, though.
Hasn't
Yeah,
even
they're-
started. It only takes 3 interceptions and they turn on you out there.
True.
I feel bad for Andy Dalton, to be honest. Like, he's in an unwinnable situation.
The red rifle. Moving on to number 2 in the NFC North, Billings. Hit me with it.
They have the Minnesota Vikings winning over 8.5 games. I'm saying they're probably going to be closer to 10 games, 10 wins.
Is that a little bit of faith in your man, Dalvin the Cook?
It's actually a little more faith in that weird unvaccinated bastard in Kirk Cousins.
It's always the unvaccinated ones, huh?
I think he has, who would have expected from that guy? But I think that maybe he's playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder this year, and like him and Dalvin Cook will definitely take care of business. And his receivers, maybe he'll actually get the ball to his receivers this year. Who knows?
That man was dirty.
That's a bit of a gamble on my part, but yes.
Tony, hit me with your number 2 in the NFC North.
I also have the Vikings, but I'm not as optimistic. I think Kirk Cousins' unvaccinated status is going to keep the Vikings from making the playoffs. I think he's going to miss a couple games, and I think I think the Vikings are going to move on from Kirk Cousins after this season.
They're definitely moving on.
Oh, a little heard it here first. Okay. And now I'm going to let you both go in unison with your number one overall finish for the NFC North. Tony, you have
Packers.
Shailene Woodley's husband.
Billings also has the Green Bay Packers here. And Tony, where do you have them finishing?
Third in the NFC.
Okay.
Over 10 wins. The Divergent series is going to the playoffs.
I think everybody's going to be way optimistic about this team that they're going to get either the 1 or 2 seed. I do not think that'll be the case. I think the Packers will still struggle this year, despite everyone's expectations of Rodgers. I've seen other seasons where he's had a supposed chip on his shoulder and he's been fairly mediocre. And I think he'll get in the playoffs. There'll be a threat in the playoffs, but yeah, there'll be a 4th seed.
Does this season for the Green Bay Packers kind of feel like a little last dancey?
No, that was a season full of champions.
Yeah, that's
wow. Oh my God. You just straight up took all of the air out of that flow.
Jesus. We're not talking about the Bucks yet. We're talking about the Packers.
Wow. Get them. Tony, lead me to this next division and hit me with your number 4 in the NFC South.
Atlanta Falcons, Matt Ryan, swan song. They're moving on from him after this year too. See you later. They're not winning more than 6 games.
He's hitting the ice.
They have Kyle Pitts though.
I have been hearing a lot of Pitts. This guy is all the rage right now. Billings, you're number 4 for the NFC South.
I also have the Falcons. I'm surprised how much agreement we have here, but I also have the Falcons. I also have them moving on from Matt Ryan after this season.
Oh.
Future Bronco?
Possibly, but I honestly think Matt Ryan will get a second opportunity and he'll do good with it. I think that he still has a couple more years where he can do good with the right team.
Yeah, he'll probably go to Philadelphia.
Okay. So
that is not one of those right teams.
I'm just telling you, who would trade for him?
The Colts, because Wentz can't stay healthy.
Maybe. That's a possibility.
Or I'm hooking up with Kyle Shanahan.
No, Kyle Shanahan's married to Trey Lance. He has found
not necessarily.
They traded 3 first rounders.
If you bring in Matt Ryan, a former MVP, you very much can set Trey Lance aside another season and be
they have that in Jimmy G.
He's not an MVP.
He took him to the Super Bowl.
He's not Matt Ryan though. I'm sorry.
Pretty similar.
As much as I'll sometimes clown on Matt Ryan and the Falcons, that dude is good.
Does have an arm, does have some vision.
He does.
It's just a matter about finishing the product. Which moves us to our number 3 in the NFC South. Tony, hit me with your pick.
Sam Darnold's Carolina Panthers.
Sam Darnold. Hey, what do you guys call that? Sir Per? That's what y'all call that? That's what y'all call him? Robbie Anderson and the Panthers are finishing 3rd. You have them over or under 7.5 wins?
Over about 8 wins. Christian McCaffrey back. Hopefully he stays healthy. That's some comeback player of the year talk as well.
Okay. Oh, giving us a little niblet there. I see you, Tony, you little devil, you. Billings, who do you have coming in at the 3rd spot?
I have the Panthers as well. A healthy Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey.
The McCaffeter.
Wow.
Oh, get this guy off the field and his McCaffeter.
A healthy Sam Darnold that's free of mono.
That's what you call Sam Gase? Or Adam Gase?
Adam Gase.
I think that like honestly, like I could see them having a 9-win season. So over.
Okay, over. Interesting. There's a little bit of hype here for the Panthers, but there seems to be a lot of talk possibly for this next team. Billings, who do you have for the number 2?
I have Nolans Saints. Eat that W.
New Orleans, huh? Is that J-Bo? Is that J-Bo Winston?
Yes, Jameis. Like honestly, I do think Jameis Winston probably breaks out this season, and like that guy was good in college, and like he's one of the more frustrating QBs I've ever seen in the NFL, where like you do see the glimmers of him being good, where you're just like, oh my God, like this guy's an assassin sometimes. It's like where he just crushes defenses.
Where somebody's going to die.
Other times where you're just like, you're Doofy from Scary Movie of just like, ta-da, like, yeah. And so, but like, no, I think him being hooked up with Sean Payton, him getting the eye surgery, him actually having some legit offensive weapons. Also, I think he has a chip on his shoulder. He wants to be good this year. He wants to beat the Bucks. I think that like, yeah, they'll be over 9 wins.
Tony, what are we thinking about for this number 2?
I'm in agreement. I think Jameis is going to have a strong bounce back season. I think that they will surprise some teams. I think Sean Payton can finally draw some passes up past 10 yards. So that'll help expand the offense. Maybe when Michael Thomas comes back, he won't have to be slam boy. And that's how you bring that right back around.
Little dirty slam boy, you. This is interesting. You guys have almost gone a 12 for 12 here. Well, you're going to go 12 for 12 because there's only one team left. Tony, hit me with your number 1, your favoritist pick in the NFC South.
Tampa Tom leading that team to another division and probably 14 wins.
Tampa Tom. I haven't heard that yet. Oh. You have them as number 2 overall?
Number 1 seed overall.
Oh, number 1.
I have them as number 2.
Billings has them as number 2 overall.
Okay.
A little repeat of the Super Bowl, possibly. We have half of it here. How many mouths do they have to feed out there, and how many footballs do you have in each play?
That's the thing. Like, that's why, like, I can't, like, I see him winning this division. I see him getting the number 2 seed in that division. And it's just because, like, how often have you seen a Super Bowl team where they've brought like the whole gang back together, like 100%, like no gaps, like nothing lost.
I mean,
like,
that's the first thing.
Insanity to me.
Are the people like that win the championship and then they're out for money?
Oh, they're either like guys are getting money, you know, like, or guys just like want like better status in different locations, or people retire.
Right.
You know, coaches get hired at other places. Like lots of things happen. And like this one, no, like 100% band is back together. Like we're fired up, ready to go. And I have not seen that in a long time. And so they're a little bit scary in that regard.
Now we talked here. You guys kind of gave a little glimpse of it as you were breaking that down the NFC. The Billings, hit me with your wild picks.
Wild card spots. Yeah, they're wild. They are wild picks, baby. But no, I got the Saints. I got the Washington football team and the Rams getting those wild card spots.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, I think Jameis Winston's going to break out this season. Like on paper, Washington football team has like a great team. Like, yes, they don't have the QB, but like they seem to have all the other pieces.
Explain this to me. They were in a terrible division last year. They won 7 games. The quarterbacks they beat were like Andy Dalton, Daniel Jones, and whatever Philly was throwing out there the last game when they tanked. So it's like, I just don't think that defense is that good.
I think that defense checked out at a certain point. Once you put what's his face in, the backup
Heineke?
QB. No, not a Heineke. The one they drafted that was just Dwayne Haskins. Yes, so that was just so god awful that like, yeah, if I was on defense, it'd be like I'm ready for an early vacation as well. So no, like I said, on paper to me, like I really do think they are like a good team. They just have kind of a deficiency at QB, and then Rams, like they're just. Matt Stafford, like he's totally surrounded by a better team than in Detroit. I think that guy will break out this year. I think that defense is going to just be amazing as always. So yeah, what do you got, Tony? What do you got for your wild card spots?
Seahawks, Niners, Saints. Got 3 playoff teams in the NFC West because it's just that good of a division. And then I think Jameis is going to take that spot from Kirk Cousins and the Vikings.
I like it.
All right, let's get on this.
Let's move to this AFC here, gentlemen. We might move at a little bit faster pace here. We're still getting our chemistry down. So we're going to start in the AFC.
We're definitely not Tampa Bay. We don't got that cap. We were very much to the Jaguars. We were figuring this shit out.
Jaguars.
Tampa Bay is hideous. I'm going to hear that all Thursday. Kill me now.
AFC.
You will. I'm sorry. Like that crowd's probably going to be insane.
And the number 1 seed Cowboys. We'll see how they do.
Honestly, like it's week 1. Anything can happen. Like I think that if Cowboys do come out swinging, they have a legit chance. But if they do just come out flat in that first quarter, then yeah, it's done.
It's over.
Sorry.
All right. Let's get to the AFC South here.
Let's check the AFC. So Tony, we are going to be starting with the AFC West.
Oh, I was like, okay. I was like, wow.
Changing it up. All right, then.
Just to move it along here, tell me who your number 4 is, TonyParlay.
Vegas Raiders. I'm sorry that your brand new stadium is going to watch a terrible team. Oof. And Derek Carr is going to be on the move as well. That's the 3rd QB I'm getting off of the team that they were on.
Wow, interesting.
Under 7 wins. That's definitely a 6-11 team. And somehow Gruden will keep his job through some voodoo and firing of coordinators.
Ugh. Billings. Are we matching him?
Once me and Tony lockstep, I have the Raiders. I'm just like the fact that one of the offseason stories from the Raiders was that they tried to get Khalil Mack back just is insane to me. And yeah, like that shouts desperation of just like, yep, we're fucked. We need to find something else right now. Let's get the thing that we completely just whiffed on and Khalil Mack. And so yeah, that to me is red flag. That team's gonna be struggling this season. And yeah, most likely Derek Carr is out the door into another season. And who knows, maybe he could be a Bronco next year.
Trying to drive the Derek Carr
you never know though. He could be with the Falcons next season, and like him with Kyle Pitts would honestly be a pretty good combo.
He could be with the Colts.
Yeah, he could be with the Colts as well. So
interesting. That moves us up to our number 3, finishing in the AFC West. Tony, hit me with it.
Billings, Denver Broncos.
The Broncos?
I got them over 8.5 wins, but I just think this division is similar to that NFC West. It's a gauntlet for those 3 teams right there.
Interesting. Now, Billings, is there a possibility you guys match on this?
So we're differing here, but I promise it's not me being a fanboy.
Okay.
I'm trying to be as objective as possible, despite what I'm currently fucking wearing. But I went with the Chargers. I think the hype is way too high on them. Like I said, firm believer in the sophomore slump. And so I think Herbert will have his struggles. I think that coaching staff still has a lot to learn. And it's just the Chargers. They're a cursed team. And so I have them under 9.5 wins.
Go Chargers, go. Well, we're going to stick with Billings here because he says he's not being a fanboy, but he's going to explain who's finishing in the number 2 spot, Billings.
Number 2 spot is my team, Broncos country, baby. No, like I think like their defense is going to carry them a lot of the way. Me and Tony have talked about it a lot this offseason. He convinced me that defense is amazing. Like just holy shit, like phenomenal. And so if that defense stays healthy, I think that just carries them a long ways throughout. And so I see them getting probably like 10 wins this year. I think if you can just have some competent quarterback play where they don't turn over the ball, that's another thing. Amazing offensive weapons on the Broncos as well. It's really going to come down to how Teddy Bridgewater plays. The worst case scenario would be Teddy comes out flat, comes out bad, and they switch to Drew Lock, and then Drew Lock sucks, and they go back to Teddy Bridgewater, and they play this back and forth game, and that could very well lead to them getting last in the division as well. So it really just like
Teddy, I don't see them being worse than the Raiders, no matter what they do.
True.
That's true. Yeah, like that defense will carry them a lot, but like also as I talked about a team earlier of like that defense might just check out if we're just playing ping pong with the quarterbacks where they're just like, yeah, early vacation, man. Like we're done playing this game. So yeah, like I can just hope that Teddy plays it consistent and that'll get them enough to, I see the Broncos getting a wild card spot this year, getting 2 in that division.
I'm in agreement with that. I think the Broncos make the playoffs as well as wild card
spot, huh? Tony, who do you have finishing second?
Herbert, Chargers.
Go second, I believe.
Oh, that's just because we revealed we got ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, sorry. I wanted you to go back to back there because Tony had already had them finishing third, which means he's got a little bit of faith in the big Herb.
I do indeed.
So that's who you have winning or getting second in the division. How many wins
for the Chargers?
For the Chargers, go Chargers,
12.
go.
12.
Wow. I like that, Tony. I like that. Okay. And that only leaves another team in that division. It's not hard to tell. I'm going to break it at the same time for both of you. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and company. We have an endless supply of podcasts of other people telling you how great that team is. If you don't believe us, you should watch one of their games. They are amazing. They do.
Just not the Super Bowl. Watch any of the other games, and I promise they'll be awesome.
They are amazing, except in that Super Bowl. Billings with the ultimate low jab, preseason low jab. Let's get out of here before we get into a bar fight. Billings, what division are we moving to next?
Let's go to the AFC East.
Now, this is a little bit of a mix-up here. There's been a lot of movement. There's been a lot of stuff happening as of late. Now, who do you have finishing number 4, Billings?
So this might come as a surprise, and me and Tony probably we're probably the same in this one. Sorry, got ahead of myself. It's the Jets.
Okay,
Jets
so
suck.
far we've got the Jets. Tony, you're in agreement. Gentlemen, how many wins for the Jets this year? I'm going to ask you both.
I think they get like 7 wins. Like they're over under 6.
I got them at 6.
At 6 wins. Tony's a push. Billings says
I'm good with that.
You're good with a push. 6 wins.
So it was my number 3 that was the surprise. Then that I'll be early.
Hit us with your number 3 then.
Is the Dolphins. I think they're gonna underperform. That's clearly another team that, based off of everything I've seen in the offseason for stories, red flags. They have no faith in their quarterback, whether it's somehow at like an ownership level or a GM level. Like I'm sure Brian Flores has faith in Tua and his team and whatnot, and is ready to move forward like that. He's a good coach. It's just like, yeah, like red flags. Like clearly you guys don't believe in this quarterback, and like just the weird way they kind of did the whole Fitzpatrick thing and how that's blurred into this season. Sorry, Dolphins fans. I see you winning under 9.5 games. I don't see you being very good this year at all. I just think it's more of a case that the Jets will be worse than you.
Oh,
This is where I would push back on you though about this, even though I'm not like the biggest defender of Tua. I really don't trust the Dolphins organization in evaluating quarterbacks after they let Ryan Tannehill go. So I really don't think that they're like the best judges of talent. So I really didn't see much of Tua. You really didn't get to see enough of Tua last year to make that judgment. I feel like I didn't see anything in what I saw from him, but I feel like he deserves a little bit more runway to see what he can actually do when the offense is actually tailored to
But
him.
I think the thing with Tua is like people see him like pre-hip injury, and now you're seeing glimmers of him post-hip injury, and they're just like, oh, like, yeah, like this guy is like clearly like different. And I think that's where it's coming from, of almost like a cringe factor of like, yeah, like this guy might be good and serviceable, but like, oh, like, fuck no, he's not the first round pick that we like hyped up for a year
and passed on Herbert for. I'm totally in agreement with you there, where like you could be totally right. I just don't think that we've seen enough of Tua to where we can make that judgment where like they've designed the offense around him. He's missing Jalen Waddle on these open passes. He's not able to connect to these players. He's just not moving the ball. I just haven't seen enough of him to make.
And so I totally hope, I really do hope like Tua is awesome. Like that's just good for the league. That's good for Dolphins. That's good for that division. It's like he is good. Right. It's just the red flags in the stories I've seen out of Dolphins offseason. I'm just like, oh man, like that seems like a train wreck season waiting to happen. And like they've just regressed to being like the Dolphins, and where like it's just I could see Tua being bad. They part ways with Tua. And then, of course, they're going to be bad the next season. So then they part ways with Brian Flores and like all these.
I disagree with you. If they move on from Tua, they're in the conversation for Matt Ryan and Derek Carr and these people we were talking about.
But I still could see him being bad though. And then moving on from Brian Flores, who's like, I do think that guy is a good coach, but I think it's more just speaks to the Dolphins organization.
True.
They don't have a lot of foresight, and they're reactionary, and this very well could snowball into something bad to where we're just like, oh yeah, they're the Dolphins that we've watched for the last like 3 decades at this point.
Well, let's move on and contrast that with the number 2 team I have.
We talked a lot about the Dolphins.
The Patriots.
Patriots action coming in here for number 2. Tony, now is this a matter of not having enough talent, of not having enough proven talent?
Dude, it's Bill Belichick. And like, unfortunately, I live in this world where he's going to be seen as an underdog. And like, there is a possibility in which he gets coach of the year. Mac Jones wins rookie of the year, and they make the playoffs. And everyone is like, oh yeah, by the way, Bill Belichick is a genius coach. He's just all pissed because of what Brady did last year. Yep. Like, I think their defense will be really good. I don't want them to be better than Miami. Personally, I don't like them as a team, but from what I know, it's like
they're gonna scratch and claw. They're not gonna go down without. They're not gonna lay down and just like give up in this division. That's, I think, what you're kind of insinuating with Belichick is gonna Belichick,
and he's gonna coach defense up. That defense will be good. I know that.
The entire last season, whenever you would see like Belichick kind of like start honing in on defense, and it's all of a sudden like they start playing amazing. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, they were bad last year.
2 years ago, Belichick starts doing this chess and checkers thing, and it's like, dude, I mean, the guy's a mastermind. So we're gonna see how well he can polish this talent. Billings, hit us with your number 2 in the AFC East.
I have the Patriots. Like me and Tony talked about this as well. A lot of the offseason where like I was really down on the Patriots and thought they were gonna be like honestly contender for number 1 pick. But like, yeah, like just Bill Belichick, having him as an underdog, like they really were handcuffed last year. That's something Tony brought to my attention of just like, yeah, there's a lot of things that culminated that just handcuffed that team. And I think they're free of it now. Like Cam Newton was like the bridge quarterback they wanted him to be. And now like it seems like they found Mac Jones, who's going to be their guy. And I think like they're going to kind of overperform some expectations. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which leaves us again. This was a 4-for-4 division here. And I'm going to go ahead and just break this last one open for both of you. You have the Buffalo Bills winning the division. And I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, but possibly where they finish in the AFC. What do you think? What do you think their finish is, Tony, in the AFC?
I have him as the 4th seed. I have him at taking a step back. I really think that Josh Allen peaked last year. I think he was as efficient as he could be. I honestly thought he was in the conversation for MVP over Aaron Rodgers. I think he had just as good of a season. And I just think that he naturally will just take a step back. He'll still be really good. I just don't think he'll have that top 3, top 5 MVP type season. Okay. And the division is a lot tougher with Miami and New England being back in order this year. So I think that's why they take a step back.
Being coherent. Billings and the Buffalo Bills.
It's like, I think, yeah, I have the Bills as the 3 seed this year. I like people have them as high as like the 1 seed this year. I think no, like they'll still be like they'll win that division, which is a step forward for them, which gives them some home field advantage for the playoffs. And yeah, like I see them as probably being like an 11-12 win team.
Trust me, this connection is not the wrong connection. You are on the right podcast, and we will get back to the NFL preview here. I'm sorry you got the channels mixed in with Miller's fantasy football talk, and we got off the rails for a little bit. We are back. We are in the house. Everybody has some beverages. We're going to continue moving through this AFC preview. Coming up next, I think this might be the one where we differ, where the two gentlemen here do not see eye to eye. They've been seeing eye to eye pretty regularly. There was a little mix up there with the last division's winner. Oh, no, we agreed there, but it was the middle of the pack. But Tony, start me out with the AFC North loser.
Sophomore slump coming to Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. I really think that they made the wrong decision by not deciding to draft Penei Sewell in the first round to protect Joe Burrow and decided to draft Jamar Chase. I think that's really going to cost them.
Does this match you, Billings?
I have the Bengals as well. I think it's more just that's a tough division, and like the Bengals just don't have the talent to compete with that. Like when you consider that's going to be 6 of your games, no, good luck.
Fair.
Now I'm looking at Billings results here. So Tony, tell me your number 3.
Baltimore Ravens.
How many games do you have them winning?
9.
Billings, explain to the people how the Baltimore Ravens finish 3rd with 11 wins.
I have the Baltimore Ravens 3rd as well, and I have them getting under 11 wins. I think they're most likely like a 9 or 10 win team. So once again, tough division. Like they just don't have, like, I don't think they're going to be able to keep that roster as healthy going through that gauntlet of a division.
They play pretty recklessly. Like that team plays like fast and reckless. So staying healthy is pretty much the only thing that they need to do.
They haven't improved the receivers enough.
Where does Smoke John Brown end up? He got released.
We don't need to waste any time talking about where John Brown ends up.
And that's the thing is like, who, like, the running back for the Baltimore Ravens should be like a worthy name, like somebody that, like, I know.
J.K. Dobbins. It was J.K. Dobbins. And that was a worthy name.
It's not. And
I know.
Gus, the Bus, Edwards coming to take all of them vultures. Okay, so let's keep it moving here. We have a tried and true team hanging out in Billings, number 2 spot. Billings, who is number 2 in your division, AFC North?
So this might be where me and Tony start differing. I have the Steelers, and that's, I think the Steelers will be a good team. I have them as a playoff team. It's just, I want to give more credit to the Browns, and that's probably where me and Tony differ.
Nope, we are in agreement.
So Ben Roethlisberger finishing second in his division, meaning that Baker, the General Mayfield, is taking the Cleveland Browns and this all-star studded wide receiving core to the playoffs.
He's returning to the playoffs again. Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
Nobody is talking about the Browns this offseason.
That roster is stacked.
Yeah. And that team still, like, they're probably better, if not just as good as they have been the last couple of years. Nobody's talking about them. Like, that seems to be the only difference, is the hype surrounding them from the last 2 years. And so I think without that hype, they are able to finally, like, elevate
that spotlight on
just
them,
do their game. Like, I think that was the problem the last 2 years, is people were like Super Bowl contender, and like that fucks with the mindset of a team. I'm sorry, especially when you're not a Super Bowl contender. Like, it's one thing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be like Super Bowl contender, or the Chiefs, like, for them, they're like, yeah, you're goddamn right, we're a Super Bowl contender. But for the Browns, it was like, no, like, know your place. You got to work to that eventually. Got to climb that mountaintop. And so now, without the noise, I see them being much better this year and surpassing expectations in a lot of different ways.
I think the Baker Odell connection thrives this year. And I think that opens up a lot for that team. And Nick Chubb is awesome. That dude is probably, he's in the conversation.
Kareem Hunt, right? So Chubb is pretty much the lead back now.
Chubb's the back.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. You haven't heard shit from their players. No, like, distractions, especially Odell Beckham, aside from handing out cash at an LSU game. Dude's been silent, which that's a first.
Now, this last division, there are 4 teams in it, but really, we know where 2 of them are going to place, and it's just a matter of the other 2 kind of falling wherever they land. Now, I don't think there's any disagreement in who wins this division. Are you both saying that the Tennessee Titans are going to win this division?
Yes.
I thought so. Are you
Colts
both?
were probably the biggest competitor, and by their obvious just injury issues this offseason, they're probably the team that's been most struck this offseason with injuries, issues, and whatnot.
Just trying to
sucks. Like, honestly, like, I was kind of excited to just see like that Colts team complete as it was. Like, that would just make for some interesting games. I'm bummed that they're injured, but yeah, like, they were the closest team to the Titans. They're suffering from injury issues, so clearly, sorry, like, they didn't make the mark.
So we both of you have the Titans. Tony, I'm pretty sure you have the Titans in there as well. Now, I'm pretty sure I know who your number 4 finish is, and that's going to be my Houston Texans. Barely going to be winning anything if we even compete at all. Probably what? How many games are you guys thinking? Less than 5?
Yes.
I like they'll be lucky to win 3 games, I'd say.
That's
Like
about right.
they were in straight phone in mode. Like
Dude, the
what's
Houston
the
Texans are
bet?
working on Saturdays, watching college quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What's
That's
the
what they're
bet
doing.
that we
Yes.
got to make if the Houston Texans finish worse than the Detroit Lions? What's the bet there? What do we got to do? Something interesting.
No, the trick here is basically so the Jets last season were lined up prime for that number 1 pick. Like it was theirs to lose. Literally
winning.
is theirs to win, I guess. And they fucked it up. And so like that's really what comes down to is like the Lions, like they're a bad team. And like if they somehow magically win some games, which hey, Dan the Manimal Campbell, like he might do that where he's fired up and like let's win some fucking games and pushes that team, and he's fighting for today, like he's not worried about tomorrow. And so I could see very well the Lions fucking it up like the Jets did and the Texans swooping it up to get that number 1 pick.
Now that just leaves 2 teams left. Tony, who's going to finish 3rd in this division for you?
Jags.
Jaguars. Billings?
Jags as well.
Jags as well, which leaves somehow the Indianapolis Colts able to fall into a 2nd position in this division.
Yeah, like I said, the Colts are probably like the closest competition to the Titans, but like with their injury issues, they're gonna miss the mark, but they're better than the Jaguars and Texans by still a pretty good margin.
Now that was the AFC divisional preview. We do have some NFL season predictions. I'm looking here at Billings. Why don't you run through who is going to end up with the number 1 draft pick for you?
So I kind of hinted at this, but I think the Lions will get the number 1 draft pick. On paper, that team is just booty, and they've made off-season moves to just make that team even more booty. So it makes me think that they're in tank mode.
Okay.
So yeah, Tony,
give me your number 1 draft pick for the 2022 season.
Texans.
I
think the Texans.
God bless. This has been the best news I've heard all day. Let's hope that it comes true. Like some projected points scored. Moving on, we kind of talked about this a little bit during our preview. Billings, who do you have as the AFC champion?
So I got Chiefs like easily, like they're on a revenge tour this year and headed straight back to that Super Bowl.
Now I'm going to ask you a follow-up question here. Who do you have for your NFC champion?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Does that mean we're going to have a repeat Super Bowl?
It's like as cliche as it would be to pick that. But it's like clearly the obvious choice. Like I said, with Tampa Bay, like 100% reassembling that team. Now it's like Kansas City has like kind of a chip on their shoulder. Like last year, they were kind of coasting after that championship where it's just like, yeah, clearly we're the best team and much to their detriment. And then had some issues that were just blind spot for them. But this year they have motivation. They'll go back. Tampa Bay will go back. Rematch.
Now, who's going to win that rematch? Who do you believe will win that rematch?
I think the Chiefs complete their revenge tour and they win that rematch.
That's interesting because see, I have my friend here, Tony. Now, Tony's got something a little bit different. Who do you have winning the AFC?
I'm with the Billings on the Chiefs. I think it is going to be the Mahomes revenge tour.
Okay. Now there's somebody different on the other side of the line of scrimmage than Billings thinks. What's going on in the NFC, Tony?
The Rams pulling an upset. They taking down Tampa Bay.
Oh my gosh. Now that's going to be interesting because who do you have winning that?
Wait. So first off, Tony, what's happened every time you've picked against Tom Brady? How has that worked out for you?
First of all,
I just want to like interject as like a friend, like
I bet on the
Confidant.
Bucks last year against Mahomes. So I have a
because
good idea.
that was like the first year we were just like, yep, this Tom Brady guy's burned me, had every opportunity for like a better part of a decade.
No, sir. I'll take you in a time machine back to 2017 and we'll talk about Nick Foles if you want, because I was definitely on that Tom Brady train then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
Thought
been
the
a while.
Eagles were frauds as well. And that burned a lot of people, but
I just think the only team that could beat the Bucks is a team that can like move Brady out of the pocket, and that's Aaron Donald in that middle of the pocket pressure. Like there's literally no other team that could do it. So that it might not happen, but that's my only pick.
Now, who do you have winning the Super Bowl between
the Chiefs?
Oh,
Chiefs.
Hands
Chiefs.
down. No,
I don't see Mahomes
hesitation.
losing 2 in a row.
Now, gentlemen, we can get into the NFL player award predictions, and we can come back to our week 1 pick'ems at the end of week 1. We can get through it right now. I think we should go through the player award predictions. What do you guys think?
I think we can do player awards. Like we just got to go through that fast. And then basically like this last like 10 minutes or so,
Pick 'em.
just got to burn through that like week 1 shit of just like fast, like
Okay.
rapido. Like you need to be like Chris Berman of like Cowboys Bucks.
Okay.
I have
So
Bucks.
let's go. Let's get
Tony.
this. Let's go through it. Billings, let's start off with your most valuable player.
So my MVP this year, I'm going to have Baker Mayfield.
He was a little bit split here, ladies and gentlemen, and he ended up going with the greater odds. I will have you know, Baker is plus 300. No, what?
3,500.
3,500. Miller knows how to read. Now, let's go. Let's just run down through yours all the way down, Billings. So next up, we have Offensive Player of the Year.
Dalvin Cook, as much as this guy's let me down, and I hate to pick him, I have him as Offensive Player of the Year.
Interesting. A running back. Okay. Now, this next one is going to be interesting. Who is your Defensive Player of the Year?
Defensive Player of the Year, I have Chase Young. Once again, you've seen throughout this talk, I'm high on the Washington football team. I think Chase Young helps him. I think his edge presence is huge.
Now, this might be a name people aren't ready for, but who is going to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year?
So admittedly, I'm trying to be a little bit cheeky with Offensive Rookie of the Year and trying to go against the grain. But like I do see a lot of potential in Najee Harris where like he can just have a breakout season beyond the quarterbacks and have potentially like a 1,500-yard season.
Totally. Though with that,
especially with the Steelers, where it's a team built for that guy.
100%. Now, again, here comes the Defensive Rookie of the Year.
So once again, admittedly, I'm being a little bit cheeky, and this is probably me being a fanboy, but I'm going to go with PS2, Patrick Surtain the second. I think that guy's just a shutdown cornerback, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of quarterbacks that throw his way where they're just like, oh, wow, this isn't the rookie that I thought he would be. And so I think he'll bust out.
Okay. Now, this one might be a little bit of a shoe-in for Comeback Player of the Year. I think a lot of people are looking this guy's way. Hit me with your Comeback Player of the Year.
This is a chalk pick to me, Dak Prescott. Like bummer year last year. Like we know the talent that guy has. I think that talent will rise to the top this year. Like I said, I see the Cowboys being the number 1 pick. And so if that's the case, of course, he's going to come back to the Player of the Year easily.
Dak Prescott, it is. Now, one last one for Billings here. Who is going to be the Coach of the Year?
So Coach of the Year, I'm going to go with Kevin Stefanski because I think that the Browns will have a breakout year without that noise surrounding them. They're able to focus, play some games, win that division. If they do that, Stefanski gets it easily.
He won that award last year. You do know that.
Shit.
So it'd be back to back.
I'm
on that.
hiding. I'm hiding my shame
Hiding.
from you.
Tony,
Yes,
we're
I
gonna-
still think maybe, hey, back to back Stefanski. Give
it's
it to him.
not unheard of to go back to back. Now, Tony, we're going to go backwards here with you. We're going to build up a little bit of hype. Who is going to get coach of the year? Who do you believe will get coach of the year?
Sean Payton fixing Jameis.
Fixing Jameis, his first year without Drew Brees, has a lot to prove. He's got to still figure things out with that wide receiver, but that is pretty big in order to win with that W. Now, comeback player of the year. This one surprised me for you. Who are you going with?
I'm going with Christian McCaffrey. I think that the fantasy driven narrative is going to be pretty strong, and he played 3 games last year. I think if he plays all 16, he's going to be putting up those Christian McCaffrey type numbers.
Quick interjection, plus 2,000 yards.
Yes. If you
Not rushing. Total. Yeah.
Plus 2,500 all-purpose yards.
Yes. What are the odds on that? That's probably pretty good. He's probably going to be
Put it on
that.
the board. He says Christian McCaffrey comes off the McCatheter for comeback player of the year. Tony, who is the defensive rookie of the year?
My homer pick, Michael Parsons, fixing the Cowboys defense from atrocious to manageable.
Now, this one is going to be interesting here for me. The offensive rookie of the year?
Trevor Lawrence. Just slightly over Mac Jones at this point, because I just think he's just going to get all the opportunities and he's going to start and get all.
Another interjection. Is it weird that Mac Jones is favored in that category?
Now he's favored?
He is favored, which I think is weird.
We haven't. No,
I don't know if that's the Bill Belichick effect, but like I would just take Trevor Lawrence based on those just odds alone that he's not favored. So yeah, like I said, random aside, but yeah, weird that Mac Jones favored there.
So that leaves us with your defensive player of the year, Tony.
Myles Garrett. He's a terrifying person.
Believe in that
post-COVID, hopefully he's even scarier.
Believe in some of that Browns hype again. Brings us to your offensive player of the year.
Nick Chubb, 2,000 yards. He's going to get
more
there.
Browns love. Interesting. I like it. Leaving us with the most valuable player not preseason, but just for you. Yeah.
I'm going to say Tom Brady's going to win it. Everybody thinks it's okay to love him. His stock has never been higher. People like him now. And Tampa Bay really changed once they just started throwing the ball. And now the weapons he has, it's just really going to be tough to stop him.
Now, this next section, we're going to do a little bit of rapid fire. We might not need an explanation until after the results come in, but I'm just going to fire off week 1 pick'ems, and I just want to get your guys' picks for week 1. We can check the tape a little bit later. The first game of the 2021 season, starting on Thursday, September 9th, will be the Dallas Cowboys visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Billings.
Bucks.
Tony?
Bucks.
That makes all 3 of us. I've got Bucks as well. Leading us next to the Eagles at Falcons. Tony.
Eagles.
Billings.
Falcons.
I've got Falcons as well. Tony's the odd man out. Next up, Steelers at Bills. I think it's easy to say the Bills for me. Bills. Okay. Vikings at Bengals. Tony.
Vikings.
Billings.
Bengals.
Interesting.
I think week 1 upset.
I
Week
like
1
the
upset,
Vikings
huh?
in this matchup here. Coming to the Niners at Lions. We're just gonna go say it.
Niners.
1, 2,
Niners.
3.
Niners.
Niners. Yes, sir. Okay. Cardinals at Titans. 3, 2,
Titans.
1. Titans. Yes, I thought so. Seahawks at Colts. 3, 2,
Seahawks.
1.
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Yes, sir. Everybody's in agreement there. Chargers at the Washington football team. Tony, who do you have?
Chargers.
Billings.
Once again, the odd guy out with the Washington football team.
I've got Chargers. Go Chargers. Go. Jets at Panthers. 3, 2, 1.
Panthers.
Yes, sir. Everybody in agreement. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Jaguars that's a professional football team there in Houston. 3, 2, 1. Jaguars. Yes.
Wait, what? What is this next one?
Yes. Are you ready for this? Browns at the Chiefs. Billings.
Let's go, Browns. Week 1, any given Sunday. This is why I'm trying to kind of go against the grain with like teams like the football team. But yeah, Browns. This is one of my big upsets of the week. I think that the Browns are able to just come out swinging and get victory number 1.
Victory 1. That leaves Tony and I with the Chiefs. I don't know what Billings is doing. Dolphins at the Patriots. Billings, who do you have?
Next, the same thing. Again, I'm picking Patriots as the underdog team here. I think any given Sunday, week 1, Mac Jones comes out swinging. People are going to talk about Mac Jones and Bill Belichick and what's wrong with the Dolphins.
No. That leaves Tony and I with
Dolphins
as well. Now, Homer Town right here, Broncos and Giants. Tony, explain your pick here.
Giants, 20th anniversary of 9/11. First game they're allowed fans in over 2 years at Meadowlands.
Oof.
One of the greatest explanations for why a team's going to win ever, but I'll take it.
Yep.
Billings, who are you picking? I don't think it's hard to tell. That man is
Let's
Broncos.
go.
I'm picking the Broncos as well. This is going to be an interesting game. Packers at Saints. And now, Billings, where's this game being played?
Jacksonville, baby. Because the Saints are petty as hell, and they found the place where Aaron Rodgers has, I believe, the least amount of road wins, and also the most expensive plane tickets for fans in Green Bay was Jacksonville. And so that was why they selected the site. Props to them. I'm saying the Saints win this petty battle.
I've got the Saints as well, which leaves Tony going for the
Packers.
Oof, interesting. 2 more games here, gentlemen. Let's wrap it up quick. We've got the Bears at Rams. I think we're all in agreement. The Rams are going to win.
Rest in peace, Andy Dalton.
Rams, rest in peace, Andy Dalton.
This is the last game of the week 1 NFL season, and this is going to be a doozy because it's the Ravens visiting the Raiders. Billings, give us your pick while you get this baby on this camera right now.
I am going to pick the Raiders once again. I'm going with the philosophy of week 1. Like, it just, anything can happen any given Sunday. I'm going with the
Raiders, which leaves Tony and myself believing in Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Now, gentlemen, I want you all to have a great week. Stay out of trouble and make sure to tune in next weekend when we get the results from week 1. We get to continue this great podcast, and I get to see all of these beautiful faces right here.
Go Broncos! Building fans every day. Oh, wow. Go Broncos!
It's week 1.
Yeah!
Welcome to the pod.
Go Broncos!